Most school leaders are terrified of AI. They're banning it, restricting it, pretending that it doesn't exist. But you know the truth. While you're protecting students from the dangers of AI, other schools are teaching kids how to leverage it and use it as their competitive advantage in the marketplace. Right now, education's at a crossroads. On one side, you have the play it safe principals who are maintaining the status quo, creating students who will be unemployable in 5 years. On the other side, you have Ruckus Makers, those bold and innovative school leaders preparing students for a future where AI fluency isn't optional, it's table stakes. And speaking of stakes, they couldn't be higher. While you debate policies and form committees, an entire generation is either being equipped to thrive in an AI powered world or left behind to compete with tools they were never taught to use. In today's episode, I'm sharing 3 of 10 AI principles that will transform how you think about doing school different in 2025. I'm teaching you the exact framework that I used with an innovative school district in Ohio. Basically, what I'm saying, this content was a keynote, actually a workshop, 3-hour workshop that I went and did in Ohio. And you can have access to everything I taught that group. There are lessons on belief transfer, the power of action over ideas, and why letting go is your greatest leadership advantage. If you want all 10 principles, plus an AI demo that I make, and a curated list of tools that you can use, then head over to betterleadersbetterschools.com/AI training 2025. That's all one word. So betterleadersbetterschools.com/AI training 2025. And it's just $27. Hey, I'm Danny Bauer, and this is Better Leaders, Better Schools, the original Ruckus cast for innovative and visionary school leaders who want to do school different, even within a traditional system, so they create a campus experience worth showing up for. Thanks to Ruckus Makers just like you, this show ranks in the top 1% of nearly 4 million podcasts worldwide. So once again, thanks for pressing play, and we'll be right back after some quick messages from our show sponsors. Still scrambling for supplies like it's 1999? ODP Business Solutions streamlines everything from pencils to projectors so you can focus on what matters, making an impact. Visit odpbusiness.com/education to learn more. That's odpbusiness.com/education. Today's episode of Better Leaders, Better Schools is brought to you by Play Piper. The innovators of tomorrow are sitting in classrooms today, but only if we give them the right tools. Piper's STEM kits connect kids' love of gaming with real-world coding and engineering, turning curiosity into career-ready skills. Keep your students engaged and inspired. Learn more at playpiper.com. That's playpiper.com. IXL is a go-to support for classroom teachers because its adaptive platform makes differentiated instruction easy. See for yourself and get started today at ixl.com/leaders. That's ixl.com/leaders. All right, let's talk about how Ruckus Makers do school different. And in case you're new to me, I started this podcast, Better Leaders, Better Schools, actually 10 years ago in September of 2015, which is just insane. The show you can see ranks very highly, top 1% of shows worldwide, and it's absolutely changed my life. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening faithfully over the years, and thank you for being a Ruckus Maker, somebody who wants to do school different. I've got 5 books out there. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see them. The Roadmap, right? Mastermind, Build Leadership Momentum, The Remarkable Vision Formula, and Calm in the Chaos. So those are everything to me. I love writing, and people have really responded to these nicely. 3 of those 5 books are bestsellers, which is cool. I love supporting school leaders, and this was a picture taken at one of our live events. This one was in Denver. You can see me. It's almost like, where's Waldo? I'm way in the back. But that's what I do, right? Support Ruckus Makers on their Do School Different journey full time. So what's interesting is I'm recording this, I'm turning it into content, right, for the pod and content for YouTube. And this is a bigger training that I'm doing 3 hours with a school district here in Ohio, one that has prided itself on being an innovative expert or leader within their peers for years. And when we set up the call, if I should come in and speak on this topic, I asked, why now, why me? And the lead said, Danny, we want to continue to do school different, and you're the guy. So that was really interesting. And then I found out too that they wanted me to come in and talk about AI, which is also interesting because I'm not an AI expert, right? I don't know how to code. I'm not I like tech stuff, but I'm not a technical guy, right? But I accepted because I know, even though I'm not an AI expert, I have what I bring to the table is radical curiosity and mental models, right? A way of thinking about how to leverage AI, especially on a Do School Different journey. And so that's what I'm going to share with the school district. And this is a run through just for me to practice. I figure I might as well create content, uh, you know, for Ruckus Makers that listen and watch the show and provide value that way. A couple of lessons, I've already shared here, just unpacking for you, sort of metacognitive type of way. You don't need to necessarily be an expert to add value, right? Be humble, know where your strengths and weaknesses are and how you can add value. And that's super cool. You don't have to pretend, to be anything that you're not. There was another lesson that I wanted to share because I was riffing on it earlier already in the show, but I forgot what the point was, and I'm not going to go back. So let's keep moving forward. I've been really lucky to speak all around the world. This was in Kenya, where I spoke to 1,000 international school principals on their Do School Different journey, and I put that picture in here to remind me of a moment I had, and it was so amazing, where there were students from around the world, but this particular student was from Mombasa, the host city that was hosting this event. And they were talking about AI and the future of education. The students said, principals, I would not use AI if I saw the meaning in the work that was assigned to me. Here's what that means. Here's what she was saying. Many assignments are given to students just to have them work, to have them sweat, to keep them busy. And it's not necessarily intellectually stimulating or challenging. And it's probably definitely not aligned to their relevant sort of experience. So when they see that that's a meaningless busy work type assignment, I'm gonna have AI do it. Why would I waste my time? And she's not wrong for thinking this way, right? Now, a few years ago, Gallup did a poll of thousands and thousands of students, and what they found should alarm you. They found that 53% of students are totally checked out, disengaged from school. What's going on there? Well, I think the problem is quite clear. We don't create a can't miss experience for our students. And what that means is you don't need a dog and pony show. A lot of people, by people, I mean teachers, don't understand what I mean by this. You don't need a dog and pony show. You don't need, to be an entertainer to create a can't miss experience. That doesn't require funding. It doesn't require props. What it requires is a radical curiosity in your students and creating lessons that align to their life, right? To help them solve problems that are real and meaningful for them right now, to help them see, right, how it's tied to the future of their lives and to be successful. So I wanted to share that story real quick because I think it's quite alarming to think about. And the antidote is to do school different, right? To create campus experiences that are worth showing up for. When I go out and speak, I have 3 rules, and just to keep it short, right? Rule number 1, we only have this time right now. So even though I'm practicing what will be the presentation for the school district, and you're consuming this through video or audio, right? I would recommend that if you can engage with this content today, because this is me just teaching, and I'll share what I'll be teaching aligned to Ruckus Makers Do School Different in just a second. But I want you to actually take notes and then think about the action steps that you want to take to apply the lessons that I shared today, to your campus. So one is to fully engage, right? Rule number two is just to have fun, you know, like don't take yourself too seriously. Try not to be distracted, right? To people that are going to be here in the live crowd, I'm going to let them know, hey, don't check your email, right? If you're checking your email, either I suck as a presenter, you're not fully here, right? And trying to get the most out of this moment, or you're just wasting time, right? So just like fully engage, have fun. And then rule number three is always simple and it always gets a laugh, which is don't believe a word I say. That's one because I come from a family of liars, but more realistically, the reason I don't want you to believe a word I say is because I want you to put into practice what I teach, try it out, see if it fits, see if you get a positive result. And if you do, then keep doing it. And if you don't, then stop doing it. Right. But ultimately, what I'm asking you to do is to make decisions for yourself, but at least try it out. In my world, there's two types of leaders, right? And if you've listened to this show for a while, you could do this with me. Say it with me, right? There are play it safe principals who maintain the status quo and protect tradition. They do get better. When they get better, it's only incrementally, so just a little bit by a little bit. And everything they know how to do, they've learned in a book or a manual or even from a podcast, conference, and that kind of thing, right? But they've been told how to do it. There is a path, and you could turn to page 394 for that path. So that's a really important aspect to understand about play it safe principles. The other kind of leader, those are ruckus makers. That I suspect is what you are, especially if you are engaging with this content. You want to do school different, right? You want to reimagine the educational experience within a very traditional container, a traditional system, so that you create a campus experience worth showing up for. That's what it's all about. But if you're coming from the future, showing us how education can one day be, there is no manual, there's no path, nobody to show you how to do it. And it requires leadership and innovation, right? We're making it up as we go along. We're learning. We have lots of feedback loops. We're taking data in, pivoting and amplifying and eliminating, where necessary, our different types of projects. Today, at least when I'm in the school district and for you in the podcast, I'm going to definitely go over the principles, the AI principles. Think of them like 10 AI mindsets. I am going to demo some stuff for you too on this show. So I do want to encourage you, if you're listening, you might want to do the video version. That's available at betterleadersbetterschool.com, on YouTube, on our Substack as well. I'll have this inside the Ruckus Maker Club too for our club and mastermind members. You'll want to see it. I will do my best to explain what I'm doing on the screen, but I'm going to demo some stuff for you. And I think, whatever, you're going to want to watch that and then experiment yourself. In addition to that, when I'm live with this group, we're going to play and share. So I might challenge you. We'll see how this is going, but I might challenge you to do some of that stuff as well. And then we're going to reflect and talk about next steps. I typically ask, people in the audience, what do you need from today? I like that question. I'm going to ask that question here too, even though there's nobody live watching with me. And I'm doing this to model leadership as service and leadership as being agile, right? Not holding too hard onto a certain path, a single right answer. I love asking this question to crowds because they tell me what they need and I can pivot in real time to serve them, right? I have that ability. You should do that too as principal, assistant principal, or whatever your leadership role is on a campus, because whatever you do, it's an act of service as well. And don't think you have the best ideas for the people that you serve. I promise you that you do not. It is not like I'm not trying to chop down your ego. The same is true for me. I like to tell people when they see me live, I hope the best thing you learned today is the something that maybe uncorks everything for you, that catalyst comes from a peer. But I do know I'm an expert again in that curiosity piece, telling stories, facilitating experiences like this, but also create the conditions in an environment where people can wrestle with big ideas and find solutions. And so, yeah, if I'm not the one to ask you the question or to give you the feedback, that's super cool. So, leadership lesson, just to beat it into your head, be asking your people what they need from you and then give them exactly what they say. All right. Yeah, if you're watching this, I guess you could, no problem, scan the QR code and you'll get the, what's it called? There's a Notion document with a bunch of resources and cool stuff for the Marysville people where I'm going to speak. And so you could have access to that too, which is really neat. Resource walkthrough. So I just want to show you really quick. Let me stop sharing my screen for a second. And I'm going to pull up what it looks like while you want to actually download what I just showed you. All right. So this is in Notion. You won't see all this, but if I go to my shared notes and presentation notes, and here we go. So when you download the resources, you'll want to bookmark this page. I guess if you're listening to this content, still cool. If you want to leave a review of your experience, that's fine by me. In terms of the workshop itself, as you can see, there's an AI audit. I've also got a Do School Different scorecard. So these things are in here for you. The AI tools to try and why. You can see that I have a pretty long list. Plus, I linked to a really great newsletter called Superhuman AI. They have 100 AI tools, and I linked those up for you too. But credit where credit's due, they curated that list. One of the most popular, actually the most popular download from my website, I put in this resource page for you as well. It's the 12-month principle checklist. And then here's an 8-step goal setting tool as well. The 10 principles are there, which I'll scroll through fast. And then it tells you what you could do next. So you're already on the Ruckus Maker newsletter if you download the resources here that I'm walking through right now. So you don't have to take any other action other than scanning the QR code. I do want you to be a subscriber to the podcast. So I've got Apple, Spotify, YouTube linked up for you there. Here's links to all 5 books, the 3 bestsellers and the 2 that were okay. You could grab some of those if you want. And you might not know, we have a premium newsletter called Ruckus Maker Media that's on Substack. And this note explains all the different content categories where we produce stuff. If you want to join the Ruckus Maker Club or apply to the mastermind, those are 2 leadership communities that are similar. The only difference is the amount of engagement and proximity to coaches and to me that you get. And so anyways, yeah, you could check those out. If you are a Ruckus Maker who wants to do school different, if you feel stuck at times, if you feel isolated, if you feel like everybody thinks my ideas are crazy and that'll never work here, you're probably just surrounded by the wrong people. You're probably surrounded by play it safe principals and status quo superintendents maybe. And anyways, when you join the club or the mastermind, you'll realize, wow, there's other people thinking just as big and bold as me. And not only do they think the same way, they help me see my dreams become reality. So we'd love to support you there. My contact info is here too. If I can, just support you in any other way in terms of coaching, or maybe I could come in and speak to your community. That'd be super cool as well. So that is the resources and why you should download them. So let's get back to our slides. So let's dive into the principles. There's going to be 10 principles that I shared today. And we're going to start with a story. So I want to bring you to Disney World in Florida. That's a favorite place for my nephews and my sister and brother-in-law. They go there quite a bit and they love it. They absolutely love it. So I had Levi and Silas were both with me. Silas is a bit older, Levi's younger. He is now in 7th grade, so he doesn't look like this, right? He looks like a very young, super cute kid. But I wanted you to see this picture because this is what he looked like during this story. So I'm in Orlando at Disney World. I'm with Levi and the rest of my family, my sister, my brother-in-law, my other nephew. So there's 5 of us, and we're getting on a ride. And we're getting on Splash Mountain. And everybody's excited for the ride, including Levi. Now, if you've been on that ride, it's kind of like a meandering, very lazy and slow ascent to the top of the mountain. And there's the typical singing of songs that Disney does on their rides, and kids are laughing and having fun and singing, including Levi. We get to the top, and there's a big problem. Levi discovers, because he sees the boats ahead of us starting to dip over the side right at the top of the mountain and go crashing down. And it's at this point that Levi loses his bloody mind and he really starts to freak out. He freaks out so much, it's almost like sort of embarrassing, right? All eyes are on us. And my heart rate is accelerating. I'm definitely starting to sweat. I'm thinking, do I need to restrain my nephew, right? Or does somebody need to like stop the ride? Is there a big red button I can push in this moment to stop the ride and rescue my nephew? And he's screaming, I don't want to go, I don't want to go, right? And he's scared and all this kind of stuff. And then we hit that, is precipice the right word, right? We hit that moment where our boat is balancing between the safety of the top of the mountain and then the death-defying descent we're about to go on. And our boat and gravity takes over and we go crashing to the ground. And what's interesting is in those, like, let's call it 5 seconds, maybe even 10 at the longest, what I notice is that Levi's screams of terror turn into screams of joy, and tears of fear, right, turn into tears of happiness. So much so when we hit the bottom, splash, we all get wet. Levi is uncontrollably giggling and he's saying, can I do it again? Can I do it again? And I see Levi and I see that big smile and I see that desire to do the ride again, the ride he was so afraid of doing literally just 10 seconds ago. And it's in that moment, something's revealed to me about the human experience, which is that there's two sides to every coin. Everything Levi was feeling physiologically was the same. Fear was on one side of the coin and adventure and opportunity was on the other side. But the tears and the energy, right, that was bottled up, all of that was this, it was the same experience. And this is the first lesson, right? And actually, if you're watching, all the lessons are going to be on a slide that kind of has this purple hue, and that's your cue to write it down. Maybe you want to draw the coin as well. But lesson number one, there are two sides to every coin. And I think that's very applicable and where I want to start, where it comes to do school different in the AI experience, because a lot of fear, right? AI is cheating and, kids don't know how to do this and that. And, all the concerns, some valid concerns there too. And what do districts do? They do the worst thing you can do. They ban the tool. They ban the tool that's going to be ubiquitous, right? When people laugh that there be a personal computer in everybody's home, right? Well, there is now. And usually in many homes, there's multiple computers. Now, my wife has her work computer. I have my work laptop. I also have an iMac desktop. We have 3 computers, not to mention our phones and we both have iPads as well. That's one house. And that was just the computer technology. AI is going to be like computers and even more widespread. It's going to be running everything. And some people don't get that. So shame on you, school districts and school leaders. Shame on you, play it safe principals and status quo superintendents. If you are not equipping kids on how to use this to their advantage for leverage, how to stick out as an employee in the marketplace, how to add net new value to the world by leveraging AI, because other schools will be, and the schools that do will be pumping out kids who are ready for this new economy and new future. And the ones that don't, those kids are going to be unemployable, literally, right? So there's two sides to every coin. I think that's all I want to say about lesson 1. ODP Business Solutions, formerly Office Depot Business Solutions Division, has been a trusted partner for schools for 30 years. At ODP Business Solutions, we're by your side to meet your evolving education needs. Let's talk about what keeps Ruckus Makers up at night. Creating engaging learning spaces while juggling budgets, safety protocols, and those endless supply lists. Here's the game changer. ODP Business Solutions helps you tackle it all. We're not just another vendor, we're your strategic partner in transformation. Want to turn a tired computer lab into a STEAM innovation center? We'll help design it. Need to keep 8 schools stocked and spotless? We've got sustainable solutions that scale. Looking to upgrade from whiteboards to interactive displays? We'll guide you through the entire process. And the best part, you can get it all from a single supplier. That helps you simplify ordering and streamline budgeting while staying compliant with easy access to cooperative contracts. However you want to advance, ODP Business Solutions has 30 years of experience helping districts like yours get ahead. Visit odpbusiness.com/education to learn more. That's odpbusiness.com/education. As educators, we've all seen it. That bright student who checks out of math or science because they feel it's just not for them. Play Piper is here to change that. With award-winning STEM kits and coding curriculum, students move from passive learning to active building. They see how creativity, problem solving, and innovation all come together, and they love it. If you're looking to bring more engagement into your classroom, discover how Piper supports teachers and empowers students at playpiper.com. Again, that's playpiper.com to learn more. Teachers love the support that IXL provides in the classroom, and Ruckus Makers love it all as well, because IXL also gives school leaders meaningful insights on every level. Put your finger on the pulse of student performance with IXL and its dashboard to drill down to see progress and growth for individual students. You can even customize reports to hone in on the information that matters most to you. IXL helps Ruckus Makers make data-informed decisions that will benefit their students' growth goals. Get started today at ixl.com/leaders. That's ixl.com/leaders. Speaking about sort of innovation and that kind of thing, I believe, we really missed out on an opportunity. COVID was obviously terrible, and we all lost loved ones. We saw just what happened to the world, right? In the madness, you know, yeah, I don't want to get into the different approaches that countries had to the pandemic, but people started to lose their mind. And I think part of it was because of like they felt a loss of freedom and independence, and it was scary and ambiguous, like how long is this going to take and what are going to be the ramifications and da 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 da. But the missed opportunity was that schools were like, we often think that you can't innovate in school when we know that's not true, because just a few years ago, we innovated the hell out of school, right? And we were forced to. People got super creative. One of the proudest things I am about my work over the last 10 years, I wouldn't say that the pandemic was easier for leaders we supported in the mastermind, but it was not easy, but it was certainly easier for them than it was for many other people, including listeners of the podcast. And that's only because we had been playing on Zoom since like 2015, right? So it's kind of like the cool kid in the band, right? That is undiscovered, and then they blow up, and it's like, oh, you feel a little bad that everybody knows your band. Well, then everybody knew Zoom, right? Or Google Meets, Microsoft Teams. They knew how to pivot and do things. And I'm not saying that schools should be all sort of hybrid and all online and that kind of thing. That's not what I'm saying. But we had to experiment, and some of those experiments worked. The missed opportunity was, inertia is real, and sort of the gravitational pull of the status quo and tradition. When things got back to quote unquote normal, we let go of all the innovation. Many places, not all, but many. And so that's just too bad. Here's a picture of Silas. I took this, the other day. He came in second in his JV cross country meet. So, proud uncle over here. Way to go, Silas. And I think it was last year, maybe, when he was going to freshman high school. But basically he asked, like, how are things going? In high school was kind of fun for me. I was hoping it'd be the same for him. He's kind of, agnostic toward it, doesn't really love it necessarily. And he said, this is shocking to me, I liked school better during the pandemic. What? You like school better than the pandemic? Like, you're not even around, you're just around your family, not even around friends. What's going on there, Silas? I asked. And he tells me, well, we had freedom, right? We had more freedom about how to approach, assignments. There wasn't like a teacher over our back for everything. We had more freedom about like when and where we worked on stuff. We had freedom to use a restroom when we wanted, freedom to have snacks when we wanted. And Saz at times, he sometimes he experiences bullying and struggles with that. He's just like how to fit in socially. And so I think in some respects he was out of that scenario. But don't get caught up on that. Focus in on the freedoms that he was experiencing, or I should say not even freedoms, the agency and the autonomy that he was able to express during pandemic school. And he misses that because now he's back in the traditional, believe me, where he goes, I won't mention it. I'm sure I've mentioned it in other places if you really want to know, but they are definitely status quo, tradition based. They don't do anything innovative in his district. It's actually rather quite a lousy place from everything that I've gathered about his system. And so, yeah, sitting in rows, being told when and where, he can eat and go to the bathroom. People sometimes turn their nose up to this idea of, school to prison pipeline, but I mean, you don't get a lot of freedom in school. So just saying, you could cancel me for that, stop listening or not, but it's true. He misses school during the pandemic. So what happened, right? Like what happened with that? And again, like the two sides of every coin, share and adventure, I think schools just got afraid and they went back to what felt comfortable and what felt easy. But here's the thing with all of that, right? That's all focused on me, the school leader, or me, the educator. It's me. It's ego. It's a focus on self. It's not a focus on other and providing value to other or creating a can't miss experience on campus, right? It's how does school work for me, the adult? And that's backwards. It needs to work for kids and adults. And it needs to be a project of empathy. So I think that was what's going on there. Now, let's juxtapose that with probably my proudest moment in education ever, other than, launching this Better Leaders, Better Schools, Ruckus Maker, Do School Different project. And you can see here, this is the 2013 Chicago Marathon team. Over 3 years, just over 100 kids, and by kids, I mean sophomore, junior, and seniors in high school, ran the Chicago Marathon with me. Most of them completed the full 26.2 race, and we raised over $25,000 for clean water projects in Africa. And it was just so cool. Now, I didn't twist any of these students' arms. They joined on their own accord. Some of them were athletes. Many were not. They just wanted to do it, and they wanted to help out with the clean water projects. The coolest thing was waiting at the finish line for the students slower than me. Many were finished before me. But as students would cross that finish line, we would just both, be crying. And part of that's because of just the emotional and physical toil of doing something hard like the marathon. Part of it was they said, hey, I never want to run a race like this again because it's so long and so hard. But part of them were crying. Part of the reason they were crying too was that they realized something about themselves. What a gift, to give students. And they realized this was so hard, what I just accomplished. I can now do anything I want in my life. And really, the goal of school should be to create that kind of confidence and problem solving and sort of like mindset for all our students. I can do anything. I know how to get through hard stuff. I know how to solve problems. And I could do it right in a group too, even though it's an individual race, we ran together. So this was an incredible moment. And here's a picture of Mahogany. She couldn't run with us as a freshman because technically she was too young. So she tapered and she ran some of the long runs with us, but never the full amount. And then she ran, sophomore, junior, senior year. She ran all throughout college. She runs now currently the marathon still raising money for clean water. And she's also a teacher too now, which is just super honoring, for me. She's making a tremendous impact, right? So how do we create those kind of experiences, for our students? And this leads me to the second principle or mindset I want to teach you today, and write this one down too. Your number one job as a leader in Ruckus Maker is to transfer belief to your staff, to your students, right? And are you creating that for them or not? Do they believe now I can do anything? I can solve any type of problem with these kind of resources, these kind of teammates, this kind of setting. I can do anything. So that's all I want to say about lesson number 2. All right, let's talk about how you win a game show. And this is a fun image from Christmas where some of my family from England, some from Zimbabwe, some from Massachusetts, and me and my wife in our house, we're playing Family Feud, which just happens to be my favorite game show. But you can win any game show that's a knowledge game show, I should say, not a physical one. But any game show you win, it's the same strategy, and I'm about to reveal it to you. You hit the buzzer before you know the answer, right? Because Family Feud, we surveyed 100 people, and most parents think what about their school? Top 5 answers, right? If you take even a split second to think about what the correct answer is, and sometimes that's analysis paralysis, fear to get in the wrong answer, like all that kind of stuff, you're going to be too slow, you're going to lose. If you buzz before you even have an answer, you will win. And so that brings us to lesson number 3, which is ideas are great, but not the greatest. That's one of my sayings. So what's greater than an idea? Well, I'm glad you asked. Action, right? Action is more valuable than ideas every day of the week. It's a combination. It's a relationship, right? You can't necessarily take great action without any ideas. But if all you're doing is dreaming and thinking and doing vision and that kind of work all the time and not executing, then it's pretty pointless. And that's lesson 3. Ideas are great, but not the greatest. All right, so there you have it. The first 3 AI principles that every Ruckus Maker needs to master. We talked about there's 2 sides to every coin. Your number one job is transferring belief, and that ideas are great, but action is even greater. So here's the thing, that's just the foundation. When I shared this workshop, I taught 7 other principles, from turning critics into cheerleaders, why simplicity is velocity, and obviously 5 more lessons. All those lessons are yours if you go to betterleadersbettersschools.com/AI training 2025. That's AI training 2025 as the second half of the URL. And you can grab the entire workshop, right? The 10 lessons, basically like the keynote part, plus the demo where I show you some stuff that I've been using as a leader as it relates to AI, plus the curated list of resources for you. So to be clear too, this isn't a training or curated list of the AI tools that's out there for students. No, this is how you can use it as a leader to sort of supercharge the value that you create for your campus and the campus experience that you want to create that's worth showing up for. So go to betterleadersbettersschools.com/AI training 2025 and you get all that stuff. I think it's a really great deal, and I hope that I can serve you with this training. Remember, ideas are great, but not the greatest. Action is the only thing greater than an idea. So what are you waiting for? Keep making ruckus, and bye for now.